Good day everyone, I am Marvy Faith Elisondra and I am going to discuss construction controls and hazards. Construction hazards and controls. The Construction, Design and Management CDM Regulations 2007 deal with many of the hazards likely to be found on a building site. In addition to these specific hazards, there will be the more general hazards. Example, working at height, manual handling, electricity, noise, etc., which have been discussed in more detail in earlier chapters. The hazard and controls identified in the CDM 2007 and work at height regulations as to be follows. Safe place of work. Safe access to and egress from the site and the individual places of work on the site are fundamental to a good health and safety environment. Work at height. Work at height accounts for about 50 to 60 deaths, more than any other workplace activity, and 4,000 injuries each year. This is being addressed by the introduction of the work and height regulations, which apply to all operations carried out at height, not just construction work, so that they are also relevant to, for example, window cleaning, trees, surgery, maintenance work at height, and the changing of street lamps. Protection against falls from work at height. The work at height regulation require that guardrails on scaffolds are at minimum of 950 mm and the maximum unprotected gap between the toe and guardrail of the scaffolds is 470 mm. This implies the use of an intermediate guardrail, although other means such as additional toe boards or screening may be used. It is also specifies requirements for personal suspension equipment that means of arresting falls, such as safety nets. When working at height, a hierarchy of measures should then be followed to prevent falls from occurring. These measures are: avoid working at height if possible, the provisions of a properly constructed working platform complete with toe boards and guardrails. If this is not practicable or when the work is of short duration, suspension equipment should be used, and only when this is impracticable. Collective fall arrest equipment, airbags, or safety nets may be used. Where this is not practicable, individual fall restrainers, safety harness should be used, only when none of the above measures are practicable. Should ladders of step ladders be considered? Fragile roofs and surfaces. Work on or near fragile surfaces is also covered by the work at height regulations. See summary in Chapter 17. Roof work, particularly work on pitch roofs, is hazardous and requires a specific risk assessment and method statement prior to the commencement of work. Protection against falling objects, also now covered by the work at height regulations. Both construction workers and members of the public need to be protected from the hazards associated with falling objects. Both groups should be protected by the use of covered walkways or suitable netting to catch falling debris. Waste material should be brought to ground level by the use of chutes or hoists. Waste should not be thrown and only minimal quantities of building materials should be stored on working platforms. Demolition. Demolition is one of the most hazardous construction operations and is responsible for more deaths and major injuries than any other activity. The management of demolition work is controlled by the Construction, Design and Management Regulations that requires a planning supervisor and a health and safety plan. The principal hazards associated with demolition works are falls from height or on the same level, falling debris, premature collapse of the structure being demolished, dust and fumes, the silting up of drainage system by dust, the problems arising from spit fuel oils, manual handling, and presence of asbestos fiber and other hazardous substances, noises and vibrations from heavy plant and equipment, electric shock, fires and explosions from use of flammable and explosive substances, smoke from burning waste timber, pneumonic drills and power tools, the existence of services such as electricity, gas, and water, collisions with heavy plant,